Have you ever experienced this moment? You are in a conversation. Someone asks you a simple question in English. Maybe something like, "Where are you from?" or "What did you do today?" And suddenly, your mind goes blank. You know the words. You understand the question. But your heart starts beating faster. Your brain searches for the perfect sentence. You start thinking about grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and before you know it, the moment is gone. You freeze. If this has happened to you, you are not alone. In fact, this is one of the most common problems English learners face around the world. But here is something important that most people don't realize. Freezing in English conversations is not a language problem. It is a thinking problem and a confidence problem. Your brain is trying to do too many things at the same time. It tries to build perfect grammar, find advanced vocabulary, pronounce every word correctly, and speak quickly. That pressure overloads your mind. And when your brain becomes overloaded, it freezes. But the good news is this: speaking smoothly is a skill you can train. In this video, you will learn powerful techniques that will help you talk to anyone in English without freezing. If you truly understand these ideas and practice them regularly, your confidence can change completely. Let's begin. Tip 1. Stop trying to speak perfect English. The biggest reason people freeze is simple. They try to speak perfect English. They want perfect grammar, perfect pronunciation, perfect vocabulary, and perfect sentences. And because of that pressure, their brain becomes slow. Think of your brain like a computer. If you open too many heavy programs at the same time, the computer starts slowing down. Eventually, it may freeze. Your brain works the same way. When you try to think about grammar rules, vocabulary choices, pronunciation, and sentence structure all at once, your brain becomes overloaded. And that is when the freezing happens. But here is the truth many learners need to hear. Communication does not require perfect English. Communication requires clear ideas. Even native speakers do not speak perfectly all the time. They pause. They repeat words. They make small mistakes. But they keep talking because their focus is not perfection. Their focus is communication. Imagine someone asks you, "What did you do yesterday?" Many learners try to create a complicated sentence like, "Yesterday I spent my time studying English and watching educational videos to improve my knowledge." But that is not necessary. You can simply say, "Yesterday I studied English and watched some videos." The message is clear. Communication happened. Fluent speakers know a secret. Simple English is powerful. Simple English is faster for your brain. Simple English feels more natural in conversation. And simple English helps you keep talking. So change your mindset. Instead of thinking, "I must speak perfect English," think this: "My goal is to express my idea." When that pressure disappears, your brain relaxes. And when your brain relaxes, speaking becomes easier. Remember this powerful rule. Your goal is not perfect English. Your goal is continuous English. Continuous English means you keep talking even if your sentences are simple. Tip 2. Use simple sentences first. Another major reason learners freeze is because they try to build long, complicated sentences. They believe long sentences sound more intelligent. But in reality, long sentences often create fear. When your brain tries to create a complex sentence, many things happen at once. You think about grammar. You search for vocabulary. You worry about pronunciation. You worry about making mistakes. That mental pressure slows everything down. The secret to confident speaking is actually the opposite. Use small sentences. Think about how children learn language. They do not start with complicated ideas. They say things like, "I like this. I watched a movie. I talked to my friend." Simple sentences create confidence. Confidence creates fluency. And fluency naturally leads to longer sentences later. There is another trick fluent speakers use. Instead of building one long sentence, they connect multiple small sentences. For example, imagine someone asks, "What did you do last weekend?" Instead of saying one complicated sentence, you can say, "Last weekend was relaxing. I stayed at home. I watched a movie. I also practiced English." Notice something important. Each sentence is very simple, but together they create a full answer. This is how natural conversations work. Fluent speakers don't build perfect long sentences. They build many small sentences quickly, and that is why their speaking flows smoothly. Tip 3. Prepare easy conversation starters. Another moment where many learners freeze is at the beginning of a conversation. The mind starts asking questions like, "What should I say first? What if I say something wrong? What if the conversation becomes awkward?" These thoughts create pressure, and pressure creates silence. The solution is surprisingly simple. Prepare conversation starters. A conversation starter is a simple sentence that begins a conversation. It is like opening a door. Once the door opens, the conversation becomes easier. Here are some simple starters you can use almost anywhere. If you meet someone new, "Hi, how are you today? Where are you from? What do you do?" In a learning environment, "How long have you been learning English? What is the hardest part of English for you?" In casual situations, "How was your day? Did you do anything interesting today?" These questions are simple, but they are powerful. Why? Because questions invite the other person to speak. And when they speak, you get more ideas to continue the conversation. For example, you ask, "How long have you been learning English?" They answer, "About 2 years." Now you can continue. "That's interesting. Why did you start learning English?" See how easy that becomes. One question creates another, and the conversation flows naturally. Tip 4. Focus on listening. Many learners believe a conversation means they must speak a lot. Because of this belief, they become nervous. Their mind keeps thinking, "What should I say next? What if I don't know the right word?" But this thinking creates a big problem. They stop listening. When you stop listening, your brain loses valuable information that could help you respond. But when you listen carefully, something powerful happens. The other person actually gives you ideas for what to say next. Great conversationalists are not always the people who talk the most. They are the people who listen the best. A useful rule many communicators follow is the 80-20 rule. Listen 80% of the time. Speak 20% of the time. When you listen more, you understand the topic better. You collect more ideas. And responding becomes easier. Listening also teaches you natural English patterns. Your brain begins copying the way people speak. So during a conversation, Try this simple mindset. Instead of thinking, "What should I say?" think, "What is this person really saying?" Understanding first, responding second. Tip 5. Ask questions. One of the easiest ways to keep a conversation alive is asking questions. Many conversations end because people answer something and then silence appears. But curiosity keeps conversations alive. Imagine someone says, "I started learning English last year." You could respond with, "Oh, nice," and the conversation might end. But if you ask, "That's interesting. Why did you start learning English?" Now the conversation continues. Questions create a chain reaction. One idea leads to another. Another powerful technique is follow-up questions. Example: Person: I like watching movies. You ask, "What kind of movies do you like?" Person: I like action movies. You ask, "Do you have a favorite actor?" Each question builds on the previous answer. And suddenly, the conversation becomes natural and engaging. Tip 6. Practice speaking every day. There is one rule you cannot avoid if you want to speak confidently. You must speak English every day. Speaking is a skill. Like any skill, it improves with practice. Many learners spend years reading English and watching videos but rarely speak. Then when they finally try to talk, their brain freezes. Imagine learning piano. You could watch hundreds of tutorials and read music theory books. But if you never touch the piano keys, you will never become a pianist. Speaking English works the same way. Your brain must practice producing sentences. Even if you are alone, you can practice. Talk about your day. Describe what you are doing. Explain your thoughts. For example, "Today I watched an English video. It was very interesting. I learned some useful ideas." This simple exercise trains your brain to express ideas quickly. And over time, your confidence grows. Tip 7. Slow down. Another reason learners freeze is because they try to speak too fast. They believe fast speaking means fluent speaking. But that belief creates pressure. When you speak too fast, your brain does not have time to organize thoughts. Slow speaking gives your brain time to work. Even native speakers pause often. They say things like, "Let me think." Well, so, these pauses are normal. They give the brain space to think. Fluency is not about speed. Fluency is about clarity and comfort. Tip 8. Think in ideas, not grammar. The final tip may be the most important. Stop thinking about grammar rules while speaking. When learners try to build the perfect sentence in their mind, their brain becomes slow. Fluent speakers focus on ideas first. Language exists to communicate meaning. When you focus on meaning, your brain works faster. Even if the sentence is not perfect, the message is still clear. And communication continues. Final massage. If you want to stop freezing in English conversations, remember these principles. Speak simple English. Use small sentences. Prepare conversation starters. Listen carefully. Ask questions. Practice daily. Speak slowly. Focus on ideas. When you follow these habits, something amazing happens. Your fear begins to disappear. Your mind becomes calmer. And one day you will realize something surprising. You are no longer freezing in conversations. You are simply talking. And that is the moment when English stops feeling like a test and starts feeling like a real language.